Oh, we got another rumour of the Star Trekkus. Staricus Trekicus. Basically, this rumour seems to indicate that, well, Star Trek shows have been cancelled. Now, I'm not too sure about the validity of these rumours, but I'm happy to cover them. And the reason why, and I always say this, is that there does seem to be some legitimacy behind the CBS, Universal, Star Trek, the whole debacle. Like, it's an ongoing thing. You know, we report on some bits way in the past, and they tend to start to come out as true in the future. So I like to cover rumours just on that basis, but obviously with the proviso that I always say from the off, it's a rumour. So we'll get into this, and there's some validity here with respect to Emma Watts, because she's been put in charge of stuff, and she's halted Noah Hawley's, Universal Star Trek reboot movie thing. So that's on hold. That's done. That's not going anywhere. She wants everything to stop so she knows where to position the Star Trek movie franchise. So if we're hearing that Emma Watts and Alex Kurtzman are battling it out, I think there's some validity there. But obviously, it comes from 4chan. It's one of those places that, yes, some are right and some are wrong. It's pretty much like a 60-40 split. Actually been increasing lately on rumour dumps. But yeah, let's check this out, shall we? So, a brand new set of Star Trek rumours have surfaced claiming that there is an internal power struggle being waged between Emma Watts and Alex Kurtzman for the future of the Star Trek franchise, which again I can see. I mean, Alex Kurtzman has been producing things which haven't received rave reviews, by the wider populace at large, and then obviously there will be Star Trek fans that jump on and say, no, well, I like it, I get that, but they're not a huge raving success that the Star Trek brand that you guys love, that apparently like this stuff, should be known for. And that's what we need to stay at the forefront of our mind when we talk about this. Is it really the universal success that Star Trek should have? A storied franchise? No, definitely not. So not only does this new rumour from 4chan detail that there is an internal power struggle, but it also claims that Star Trek Picard Season 2 will not be happening, and that Lower Decks might also get the axe. Now, in terms of Star Trek Lower Decks, they've already released it for free on YouTube, the first episode. It doesn't have a worldwide distributor. That doesn't sound like a recipe for success. It is only animated. It's not live action. They don't have massive studio, allotment base space booked up and things like this. So they can cancel that quickly, and it won't have much of a detriment to the business. Not a lot. I mean, it will have a detriment, but not a huge amount. Star Trek Picard is a bit more of a difficult one to cancel from the off, because they will have, soundstage space, they'll have sets paid for, made, everything will be booked in, but it still hasn't started production yet. And the fact that hasn't started, the fact that we don't know when it's going to start, is a slight concern. And you've got to remember, a lot of studios now can just cancel things, anything, literally, I'm just saying any studio can just cancel things and use coronavirus as a scapegoat, and they will be doing that, and I wonder whether Picard will be one of them. Now, the rumour begins by claiming that Star Trek Prodigy has been cancelled internally due to Emma Watts pushing to take the reins of Star Trek away from Alex Kurtzman and Bad Robot. And that's a good thing. That's a good idea. Get it away from him. He's a douche canoe. Star Trek Prodigy was recently announced at Viacom CBS just about a month ago in July. And in that announcement, the official Star Trek website revealed that the show was being developed by Kevin and Dan Hageman and overseen by Nickelodeon's Ramsey Nato. Now, the series was expected to be fully CG animated and follow a group of lawless teens who discover a derelict Starfleet ship and use it to search for adventure, meaning and salvation. They announced that the series was expected to debut on Nickelodeon in 2021. I've got to say, that sounds awful. What are Starfleet doing just leaving ships lying around? What the hell is this? Seriously? And how can teenagers operate a ship? How? This is completely new to me, but upon hearing that sounds awful. That sounds bloody terrible. And anyone who has any knowledge or fanfare for Star Trek, please agree with me. How can you think that that sounds good if you respect the universe that they've already established, i.e. Starfleet being this pretty big predominant force, and the ships being... It just sounds like a mouse pad. It sounds like, oh, just click and go, is it? Doesn't take much to pilot a starship these days, apparently. But anyway, just a week ago, Star Trek would also announce that they found a director for the series in Codehunters Ben Hibbon. Not only will Hibbon direct, but he will also serve as co-executive producer and the creative lead. NATO announced that Hibbon's involvement, saying Ben's contributions to the world of animation are immeasurable, and we are so lucky to have his vision and creative genius on Star Trek Prodigy. As an incredible storyteller and a world builder with a distinct vision, his original approach paired with this beloved property will bring the characters to life in a whole new way. That's a great PR spin, but that brief synopsis did sound terrible. Hibbon added his own comments, saying getting the chance to work on an IP like Star Trek has been an incredible opportunity, particularly when partnered with the talented teams at Nickelodeon, CBS and Secret Hideout, who have been pushing the boundaries of what animation and serialized storytelling for young audiences can deliver. Really? Don't think they have. It's hard to imagine the show would be cancelled 7 days after finding a creator, but it's also not the first time that a show would fall into limbo while having an attached director. And that's the thing. I don't believe that that's cancelled. It should be. Bloody well should be cancelled. That sounds terrible. But I don't believe it is. But I still think it should be. That does sound terrible. And again, it is important to note, like, this article is right. It's linked down below in the description box. But they're definitely right here by saying, I mean, movies get directors attached all the time, and producers attached all the time, and story writers, etc., and they die, they're done. Same with TV shows. Important to keep that in mind, but I doubt it's done. Now, it continues further and says that as far as the internal struggle between Kurtzman and Emma Watts was announced as the newly appointed president of Paramount Motion Picture Group, a subsidiary of Viacom CBS, at the end of June. And if she's in charge of Star Trek, she's going to want the series to align with what she's looking to do. And if she's cancelled Noah Hawley's Star Trek, she's also going to want the things which were spawned off the back end of J.J. Abrams' reboot, i.e. Discovery and Picard and all this other crap. They're going to want them to fall in line with what she is now doing. That is a logical step, is it not? So in a report from Deadline, they detailed that Watt's role would be to oversee the studio's film operations from development to release, including Paramount Pictures and Paramount Players production labels, as well as managing the creative development group and supervising casting, physical production, post-production and music. Pretty big. Watts made a few comments saying, at such a rapidly evolving time in our business, Paramount's rich history and commitment to unique and diverse storytelling makes it essential in this new era of filmmaking. And so that's all like fine, nothing too crazy there. But then, like I said, the report states that she cancelled Star Trek plans. She was like, nope, it needs to be put on hold. And that was from Deadline. That was all from Deadline, which was a really, I believe that. Emma Watts is pretty influential in a lot of stuff happening at 20th Century Fox, and I can firmly believe that she would go, no, hold up, we're not going to do anything, we're going to push forward when we have a clear action plan in mind. Now, the rumour goes on to point out that Star Trek short treks have been cancelled, and the rumour also adds that Star Trek Discovery Season 3 will most likely be its final season due to Watts' intervention. The rumour specifically states that Star Trek Discovery Season 3 has been edited and filmed to end on a series finale, but was meant to leave things open if there was a possibility for renewal. However, thanks to Watts, it finally or definitely will not be. Now, again, this is Lower Decks. This is the rumour about Lower Decks. That's also on the chopping block, apparently. It states that Star Trek Lower Decks may or may not survive, depending on its viewership, but it is extremely low, which might make its greenlit Season 2 suddenly evaporate. So it's not cancelled in its season, it's cancelled for renewal, or it's supposedly cancelled for renewal. The potential's there. So Star Trek Lower Decks was initially reported by Deadline to have a 2-season order back in October 2018. An order by who? By its own company? What are you on about, mate? It's not got a distributor. It's not been ordered by anyone else. The rumour would then address Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It claims Strange New Worlds is so far unaffected, but if Kurtzman is removed entirely, then the leadership on it will also change and Akiva Goldsman will be removed too. So there you go. Apparently Star Trek Picard Season 2 will not happen, and it claims that Sir Patrick is contractually bound to talk about the production positively in public, but that will cease come November, when he will be released from his contract and the show will be formally cancelled. So we'll know soon, actually. So that's interesting, isn't it? You can hear about these rumours and things, and you say they're nonsense, left, right and centre. But when something says, yeah, hey, we've got a deadline here, we can actually sit there and go, right, well, we'll see about that, won't we? We'll see. And that'll be interesting. Come November, formally cancelled. They actually give a deadline. Which is surprising, because, surprising and unsurprising. Picard actor Patrick Stewart has come out and said a lot of positive spin about the second season. Again, he would always be contracted to do that. I mean, please know all of the Star Wars actors, who have come out now and spoke about the rise of Skywalker in such a negative fashion. Same about Justice League actors when they worked with Joss Whedon. Obviously, their contracts have ended now. They can say whatever they want. It does happen. It really does happen. Now, in terms of the end of the rumour anyway, it doubled down on the idea that there is a power struggle between Watts, Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot. It reads, an internal power struggle over Trek is occurring between Watts and Kurtzman, backed by J.J. Abrams, who received profits from all new Trek shows through Bad Robot licensing. It then claims that the entire production slate for Star Trek could be wiped, because that's, if Watts claims victorious, you can go, hey, see you later, mate, bye, bye, bye. If Watts manages to oust them, the Trek production slate will be wiped clean, and a deal will be made with a new showrunner. Please be true, because a lot of these shows are utter tripe and garbage. So what do you guys think of this? Again, I like to cover rumours like this, especially when there is some validity, maybe somewhere along the line, as long as we all are on the same page that it's a rumour. And we have yet to see it. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. As always, I've been Mr. H. Take care.